Last episode we were going to talk about 5 things to keep you from failing. So what do you have to say, Serena?
Welcome back to Western Slope Realty, where the properties are wild and the realtors are wilder.
That's right. I'm Brittany, your straight talking, offer writing, no nonsense negotiator.
Oh, and I'm Serena, your sass-slinging acreage queen with a thing for fencing and first-time buyers who don't know what a leach field is.
Girl, I know that's right. Okay, so today's episode, we're giving you top first-time home buyer fails, so don't end up brokenhearted, or build a yurt next to a meth house.
Or a methane well.
Whichever one. Okay, so into our first segment. Dream meets reality. First-time homebuyers have big hearts and sometimes even bigger blind spots. Ain't that right, sister?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's hit the first one. Falling in love with the listing before calling your agent.
Ooh.
Honey, you cannot buy a dream if you don't know how much it's worth.
And how do you feel about that when someone calls you out of the blue and they're like, oh my gosh, this is what I want, this is what I'm gonna pay, and you're like, really? Have you done your own research?
But okay, and I don't know if we're allowed to say this, but there's like a certain, what is it called? Home search that gives you an idea of an estimate of what it's worth. And when I hear that, it makes me cringe, because it works great in New York when you know exactly where you are and exactly the floor level and all of that and the price per square foot.
Right.
That is not how it works out here. So when you see online where something says, this site says my home's worth this, it's not accurate, guys.
Right. And all the value depends on water, zoning, soil type, and whether cougars have been squatting in the barn. And I'm not going to lie, we do have mountain lions. We don't have cougars. We have mountain lions up on the mesa.
We have some types of cougars.
They're, oh my gosh, too
not
much.
The
They're
type
mating
that you're
right
thinking
now,
of.
and I thought it was a tortured man outside. I had to ask my husband. He was like, no, Brittany, those are mountain lions. I'm like, a mountain lion eating something.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Coming right along into segment 2, the biggest top 5 mistakes. Oh my gosh, that all buyers make. Okay. Mistake number 1, no pre-approval. If you don't know your budget, you're shopping blind. And I want to tell you a story we heard today. We had a meeting at the office today, and there's a wonderful man there. He works really hard, fabulous realtor. He had a story, it rhymes with BN. He had a story where he had a listing and he had a showing appointment for a buyer. He called the buyer's agent and asked the buyer's agent, hey, are you pre-approved? Are your sellers pre-approved? The buyer's agent said no. And he said, well, that's fine. I'm going to cancel this. Call us back when you're serious. Yeah. And I had a lot of respect for that, because I do feel like, why are you wasting so many people's time? Honestly, it's hurtful and emotional for the seller, because it's already hard to sell a house, even if you don't want to or want to. It's still emotional either way. And so to go in there knowing that you don't know if you can even afford it, let alone, are you just wasting your own time? Are you getting your own hopes up?
Oh, it's, I mean, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because if you're not out there to see how much you can afford and checking those out, I mean, you just don't even know what there is. It's a ridiculous thing.
That's right.
Don't go see a home without being pre-approved.
And I don't think we're asking too much for asking you to do your accountability, as you're asking us to keep our accountability as well. If you're willing to go look at homes and do the fun part, then you're willing to do the hard part, like us.
Yeah.
The paperwork, the accountability, the due diligence schedules, everything. Right.
Well, and every time somebody comes to see a home, the seller gets everything cleaned up. They get their dogs, their kids, everything out, and it's a lot of work. So just be conscientious of what's going on, but don't set yourself up for failure either. Because if you're looking at houses that are $300,000 above your budget, you go to look back down, and it's going to be rough.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's going to sting. All right. What is mistake number 2?
Mistake number 2 is assuming that all land is buildable. Just because it has dirt does not mean you can drop a house on it. We're talking floodplain.
Soil test, water test,
water sumping up from underground.
Then you have to do, especially, and then you have to do
shale.
Shale, and then for doing wells, you have to make sure that the first 40 feet of your well is metal or leaded plated for seepage, for shallow land, like when, groundwater seeps in, so many things.
Or there may be easements to where they're 50 feet on all sides. You have 5 feet that you can build on. So if you want a 5-foot house, that might be great.
I mean, that's what you want.
You don't know.
It's your life, your love, right? Okay, moving on. Mistake number 3. I want to slow it down a bit because these are all really, really good. Ignoring HOA covenants or any HOAs. Listen, people, they can put a lien on your home. I don't think you understand. They can literally make it to where you cannot sell until you pay this off. So let's make sure. If you leave your trash can out, if you leave, have a car parked on the street, or you have, you weren't able to plant that tree, that affordable cabin lot may not come with like 17 pages that rule your barn and chickens.
Oh yeah.
Even though out here it's like, forget it. Most people either want an HOA or they don't. And you mentioned this in another episode because I did say, I don't want to be told what to do, but you had a great rebuttal when you were like, well, I don't want to drive home and look at all these
50 cars on blocks.
Forgive my verbiage, but like janky vehicles that you kind of taken apart and forgot about, or like these half-ass projects that you've left out there. I just can't handle that. So I'm with you. Yeah. But what else can we? HOA irrigation, even sometimes you got to be careful. If you don't use your water, you lose it.
And in the hunting ones, I sold a property where they buy 35 to 40 acre parcels, but you can only fence 5 acres of it because it's this hunting ground. And so then you go into the BLM on the side and all of that. So you have access to all of it, but then you have access to everybody else's property there.
Wow.
So you can only build on that 5 acres and you cannot fence out the rest of it. And then other people have access to your property as well. So you've got to watch the covenants and just see. Some people now, there's a lot against animals. I mean, even having
or
dogs
like
or
RVs.
cats.
You have to does it have to be a pop top, or like can you have like your 50-footer back there? Right. I mean, there's so many things. Or like, is somebody's house just grandfathered into that HOA?
Yes.
Right, and you're going based off of someone who has a little bit more lineage or leeway than you do. Right. I mean, those are things. So
we see a lot of properties out here where there were maybe like 20 to 30 acres, and they sold the farm. They kept the farmhouse, and they sold all the acreage around it to a developer. So that one house, the original house, is not in the HOA, but everything else around it is. And that's gonna, whether you like an HOA or not, that's gonna be a big thing.
And it's gonna directly affect you. So you got to be careful for that.
Yes. Okay. So mistake number 4 is skipping inspections. We have seen everything from collapsed wellheads to asbestos-lined crawl spaces to foundations that are completely failing.
Okay, but here's how I have to feel about it. Okay. I get that you may be a contractor and you do all these things for a living, but it's not and it is your job to inspect these things as your home. But is it okay if we bring in a 3rd or 4th opinion on that, just to like verify that what we're thinking, or so that way the seller can be like, you're just saying that because you're a contractor, and it's like, no, actually we had so-and-so from so-and-so look at it and they agreed for the same thing. So we're not just nickel and diming you. I mean, I think that those are like really, and then, I don't ever just cut out inspections right out of my contract.
No.
I actually leave that objection date in there. And I get that you wanted the deal and you want to do the things and you don't want an inspection because you can do it yourself, but I'm still going to put that date in there just to be sure. Because you never know. People wake up one day and they change their mind all the time. So.
Right. Well, and that's something we discussed today, to have a strong offer when you are competing against other offers.
Right.
Is that if you put in there for the inspection of health and safety issues only,
which is like, you got to be careful saying health and safety.
Right.
I took a class recently and the instructor made it clear that that's very didactic for people, what they consider health and safety. Right. So like what we consider health and safety, for example, I would say an original furnace that hasn't been serviced in like 15 years, 12 years, I'd say, girl, we need to get that looked at.
We just terminated on a property.
Just like that?
So we were in there doing the inspection. They turned on the heater, and there was this horrid smell, and like all of us were getting sick. There was a tenant in there, and then 2 of the inspectors and me. And I'm like, I gotta step out. Like I am not feeling good at all. And so we called the listing agent, and he called the seller because we're like, we've got some gas smells going on. We don't know what it is.
Ooh.
So they went in there. There's no gas leak. There's no anything. So then when we had the HVAC specialist come out and check it out, it was a carbon monoxide buildup. So we terminated the deal because the seller would not deal on any of this, and he actually pulled the listing. But so all of that saved a life though. Like that legit saved a life. So don't ever waive the inspection.
And knowing back to the health and safety thing, that is an absolute health and safety thing. But us
being alive is definitely
asking
safety.
For them to change the outlet cover or like the screws are not the right screws for the deck screws.
No.
I mean, come on, you gotta just, we give and we get, right?
Right.
So let's go on to our 5th and final mistake. Dun, dun, dun. Do you love that?
I love these sounds.
Okay. Hiring your cousin's roommate's dog's trainer as your agent. Girl, why? Why are you doing that? And boy, why are you doing that? Like real estate is a relationship, but it's not that kind. And I want to explain what I mean. You can't trust somebody to come out of school and be able to implicate thousands of like informational outlets that they've learned on their first get-go. Right. I mean, it takes like, this is a true muscle memory business and eat to kill business. And I mean that with my whole heart. We don't feed our families unless we work at it. Girl. Yeah. And some girls are like, or guys, I'm not, we're girls. So of course we're going to go there first. But people are so quick to be like, oh, I just got my license. Absolutely. I can totally do the $700K deal for you. It's turn of the century. I got this. But are they asking about radon? Have they asked about foundation? When was the last thing people was furnished? Or, like not furnished, but when was the last like things were cleaned, or like the furnace was updated, serviced, or appliances were updated, or, electrical or plumbing or piping? Does it have copper pipes?
And was it DIY?
Have poly pipes? Yeah, was it DIY?
Well, and not to say, so if you are a new agent, our recommendation to you is pair up with a seasoned agent, because you just don't know what you don't know.
That's right. And the best part about this business is learning. Yes. Oh man, we learn every day. And everybody wants to learn together, right? Iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
So we got to keep that attitude. And that's what we do over at Keller Williams, Colorado West Realty.
Absolutely. Sure. And that's why we're doing this, honestly. Like, we want to help others, and we want everyone to be aware of it, and we want to have fun.
Yeah, and educate people at the same time. I mean, we don't know what we don't know, just like you said, they don't know what they don't know. So let's learn together.
We are always open to hearing about some of your stories, and we'll highlight some of those here if you want to bring them on in.
Subscribe, write it in our tree link. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Segment 3, unfiltered closings.
Today's cautionary tale is the well that wasn't.
Isn't that such a trending topic here on our show? I love it.
So much water.
Buyers thought that the land came with the well. It had a well casing.
Nice. That's
but
a good start.
It didn't have water. It didn't have a permit.
Okay, well.
Honestly, it's a good start if you have a casing. I feel like you're doing a lot better, because I just went through a deal where we were searching, and luckily during our due diligence, we found out that the well that he would be able to get would be a limited well permit, meaning it would be domestic only, indoor only. So sometimes wells, you can water up to an acre based off your domestic well. So that can give you like a little garden or like a little orchard or something like that. And my guy, we terminated.
Well,
he said no.
If that's your whole purpose.
And he had 20 acres. Is that it? Is that all he can do? That's what he was thinking, right?
Gosh, yeah, I wouldn't go with it.
Yeah.
Well, they did not catch it because, wait for it, what do you think happened?
Dun, dun, dun.
They did not order a well inspection. Understand this, a well inspection is completely different from a normal inspection.
That's right.
Something that you need to do. You have your basic inspection, and then there are times when you need to bring in somebody to inspect the foundation.
Or the septic.
And then you have your septic, and then or the sewer scope.
Right.
And then you also have your well inspection. You have your radon test. So all of these are separate. So make sure that you are asking about what to do. Yes, and that's very important here.
So many
we have a
things.
whole show that we will do on meal tailings
and different
all of this
reports
stuff.
that you should think about doing.
Yeah.
We'll do a show on that. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
Thanks people out there.
Okay, so how much did they spend on drilling the well?
How much?
$28,000. I know.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
In a well, I mean, yeah.
That's
do
like
the
what
test.
some people make in a year.
Yeah.
That's a shit ton of money.
It's so much money. It is so much
Oh
money
my
for
God.
water.
I
For
can't believe that. And then again, showing how important water is. And again, your due diligence and making sure, are you sure? Are you sure? We asked twice. We have the answer once, right?
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
All right, moving along. Segment 4. Tea for the trail. So we just want to talk about some quick tips for first-time home buyers because you guys are our people out there. We're trying to look out. We want to make sure it works. So, Serena, what's the first one?
We've said it before, but we cannot say it enough. Get approved before you browse.
Listen, I know people are worried about like hard credit pulls, whatever your limiting belief is, let it go.
Yeah, you got to do this. I mean, you absolutely just have to do this
Guess
because
what?
you're going to buy a house.
Yesterday
You
or
have
tomorrow.
to pull it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a no-go.
Just get it done.
Just
And then
no
if
other
we
way.
know, we know, and we're going to find the right one right
Yeah.
away. And then when the right one comes up, boom, we can
Yes.
move right away. All right. Tip number 2, ask for full property disclosures. Again, another theme for the episode today, but it's very important. You may think that you know, but you don't.
Right.
And they may think that they know, but they don't.
Right.
Right? That's the most
Right.
important thing. People love to just believe firsthand, like, oh my gosh, yes, of course. No, but Bob said. No.
Bob said, yeah. Again, ask the neighbors.
Bob lied.
Full disclosure.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 3, use a local real estate pro. I cannot tell you how many times we have had an agent coming in from Denver. I'm going to straight up say it. And they have no clue. They don't know about water rights. They don't know about irrigation, about
Mill
property
tailings,
lines,
nothing.
mill tailings, radon. And they're just like, oh, my buyer wants to do this. And they do their buyer a complete disservice. So use a local real estate pro. Even if your friend's sister's, brother's, cousin's, best friend's dog trainer referred you.
Yeah.
Just
We
do
can
it.
absolutely help those people out. They can
Yeah.
still make a little money and you can
Yeah.
get a good deal, right? We can kill, it's called a solution. That's what we have for you. Solutions.
Referral fees, homies.
That's right.
We pay those.
Not problems. Okay,
Yes.
number 4, though, you should know, is visiting the property at different times of day. And I think that that's very important. Every time I have clients that really love the house and we watching it or we go see it in the evening, I'll be like, okay, do you have time, mid-morning to go look at it?
Yeah.
Because then we like to see the natural light.
Yes.
And I love a good twilight and sunset. There are multiple times because what if you see it at night and it's all alluring and has this great ambience, and then you go in the morning, you're like, what the
Or
What
the
the
neighbors are actually home at night and you're like, oh my gosh, I did not know
And
there
they're
were 5,000 kids and dogs and people here.
Oh yeah, and they're all screaming like till
Yeah.
11 p.m.
No,
See,
thank
we
you.
just got to make sure.
Yeah.
Little
check
tips
it.
for the trade. Keep it in your
Yes.
pocket or don't.
And then reiterating, beating a dead horse, know the water rights, zoning, and access easements.
No, but it's so important because that's really what this episode is about. And
It
you would
is.
be surprised how many times we have to terminate based off of these little things
Yeah.
that you think we are repetitive and annoying about. So,
But they are the number one thing. So, okay, we love our first timers, but we also love saving you from expensive surprises and making this transaction as seamless and enjoyable as we possibly can.
surprise! You owe $15,000.
Yeah, we're gonna save you from that. The only surprises that we want to give you are, less money to show up to at closing, and this is your fabulous new home where you get to make your memories and life happen.
Yeah, we don't just want to give you a home. We want to give you something to live in that you can afford to live in and buy nice
Yeah.
things to live in with, right?
And not
just
be
have a
house poor.
structure. That's right. So
And it's an investment. You're
Yeah.
investing in your future and you're gaining equity.
your kids, your generations, your partner, you're investing in like your whole livelihood.
Your
You really are.
dogs, you got to
Mhm.
give them a nice place to live.
And like we said, buying your first house should feel exciting. It shouldn't feel like a horror movie and Jason's going to come around the corner, okay? We are saving you from that. So we appreciate you coming out for episode. What's going on next week?
Next week, off-grid or off your rocker.
Ooh,
what you need to know before buying remote properties.
What do we need to know? Well, thanks for listening. Share, subscribe, and remember, never buy land without those boots on the ground. Till next time, see y'all.
See ya.